Let's see, this young woman right there, if you can get a microphone into her.
Mrs. Clinton, Katerina Yasko, Center for Integral Coaching and Consulting. First of all, thank you very much for your speech. It deeply touched my heart. You, for me, have always been a visionary and evolutionary leader. You're the one who brings change and manages change. My question to you, what change are you bringing here? Thank you.
I think it is important to put the position of Ukraine today into historical context. The United States, as you know, strongly supported Ukraine's drive for true independence and for the establishment of a democracy. Those of you who are 19 years old or younger are the same age or younger than the new Ukraine. And it is remarkable that as much progress has been made in a short period of time, but it is also clear that not enough has been done. So we do not bring a transformational change like the generation that brought about the Orange Revolution brought, supported strongly by the United States, which believes in freedom and independence for all people. We bring what Max Weber might have referred to as the change that comes only from the long, slow, hard boring of hard boards. The democracy is here, but it's like what Benjamin Franklin said when he was asked, coming out of the Philadelphia Convention that created our Constitution, when a lady asked him, what have you accomplished? And he said, we've created a republic if you can keep it. So our change is the change that comes from countless actions by citizens, by government officials, by activists to keep faith with the democratic vision. No one could impose that on Ukraine from the outside. It came from within the hearts and souls and minds of the Ukrainian people, your parents and grandparents. But now it is up to you to continue perfecting it. You know, when you look at American history, when our Declaration of Independence was promulgated 234 years ago, most people who lived in the country could not vote. You had to be a white man who owned property. If you were a white man without property, or you were a woman, or you were a slave, you had no citizenship rights at all. We had to fight a civil war to free the slaves. We had to pass a constitutional amendment to give women the right to vote. We had to take actions all along our journey to make a more perfect union. So the work of democracy never ends. It's not like, oh good, we're done, we had an election, we've now got a democracy. That is the surest way to lose it. Once people begin thinking that the hard efforts are now behind us, you are then prey to economic and political elites who are happy to have you go home and worry about your own lives and your own education and your own families instead of the body politic. So I don't come with change so much as a reminder that the vision which motivated the enormous transformational change that Ukraine has experienced is as alive and well today as it was 10, 15, 19 years ago. So it's as Ben Franklin would say, what does Ukraine have? A democracy if you can keep it. And then you continually have to make it better. That is the hard work of democracy. Winston Churchill once said, democracy is the worst form of government ever invented except for all the others. Because, it does get frustrating. And you get annoyed because, human nature doesn't change just because you have a democracy. People are still greedy, people still abuse power, people still favor their friends and their families and their neighbors. That is true the world around. which is why you need strong institutions and rule of law to guard against human nature. Because you don't change human nature, you don't turn it off when a democracy is born. And so I think that, if anything, I would like my visit to be both an encouragement to remember how far Ukraine has come and a challenge to keep that vision alive and do your part for realizing the hard work that goes in to securing a sustainable democracy in today's world. Oh my goodness. Let's see. There's a young man right there with his hand up. Yes, right there. You, sir. Yeah.
Мене звуть Максим Васін, я виконавчий директор.
My name is Maxim Vasiv, and I'm in the Institute of Religious Freedom. Dear Madam Secretary, you talked about the values and their importance in building democracy. As we know, for the United States, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and freedom of faith is very important for us. Freedom of religion. A few weeks ago in the United States, there was a rotation in the Commission on International Religious Freedoms. Can you tell us how important the recommendations of this commission is as to violation of religious rights in the world when you're creating your politics, when the president is creating his politics? Does this influence your actions?
And thank you for raising that, because freedom of conscience, freedom of religion are so personally important to people. And we are absolutely committed to promoting and protecting religious freedom. We are getting, finally, our ambassador for religious freedom, we hope will be confirmed by the Senate, and we will be much more publicly engaged, so you'll be able to see the results of our work as we pursue the recommendations. But as I look around the world, conflict over religion is one of the principal sources of death and distress and despair. On the way over here, I was editing a statement that I was putting out, deploring the attack on a very sacred Sufi Islam shrine in Pakistan. Because Sufi Islam is not the same as the radical, more extreme version practiced by the terrorists and the groups that are attacking mosques and schools and so many places in Pakistan. They literally blew up one of the holiest places in Sufi Islam. And it just made my heart sink. We should do everything we can to protect the rights of people to worship or not as they choose. But instead, we see more and more conflicts where religion is either at the core or playing a role. And I hope that we can work together to try to promote and protect religious freedom, because it's a fundamental right as recognized certainly by our founders in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution.